Stop everything you're doing and listen closely if you're planning to buy a new Mac next year. If you have been saving your money, waiting patiently for 2025 to be the year you finally upgrade your desktop setup with a shiny new M5 Mac Mini, I have some news that might hurt a little bit. You need to put your wallet away. You need to change your plans. The timeline has officially shifted. For a long time, we all thought 2025 was going to be the big year for Apple's next generation of silicon. We thought the M5 was right around the corner. But new information has just come out that completely shatters that timeline. Apple has made a decision that changes the entire roadmap for the Mac Mini, the Mac Studio, and the iMac. The M5 isn't coming when we thought it was. In fact, 2025 might be the quietest year for the Mac desktop we have ever seen. But here is the twist. This delay isn't a failure. It is actually a master plan. In this video, we're going to tear down exactly why Apple is pushing the release to 2026, what is happening inside the secret labs with the 3nm M5 chip, and why this delay might actually be the best thing to happen to the Mac lineup in a decade. We're going to look at the massive performance jumps, the new unified launch strategy, and help you decide if you should buy an M4 now or wait for the monster that is coming in 2026. Let's start with the cold, hard facts. The rumor mill has stopped spinning and the reality has set in. During a recent earnings call, which is usually where the boring financial stuff happens, Apple CFO Luca Maestri dropped a subtle bombshell. He confirmed that we should not expect new Mac models in the upcoming cycles of 2025. This means the calendar for 2025 is effectively empty for the desktop. The M5 Mac Mini, the refreshed Mac Studio, and the next generation iMac are officially pushed. We are looking at a 2026 release window. This is a big deal because Apple usually loves to iterate. They love to push out a slightly faster chip every 12 to 18 months. So why the long pause? Why leave the desktop market stagnant for a whole year? The answer lies in a new strategy called the Great Synchronization. Think about how Apple has released Macs in the past few years. It has been messy. You get a Mac Mini in January, then maybe a Mac Studio 6 months later. Then the Mac Pro comes out way later when the chips are almost old news. It was scattered. It was confusing for buyers. You never knew if you should buy now or wait 3 months. For the M5 generation, Apple is fixing this. They want to align everything. They want to drop the entire desktop ecosystem at the exact same time. Imagine a single event in 2026 where they reveal the entry-level M5 Mac Mini, the powerful Mac Studio, and the all-in-one iMac all on the same stage. This allows them to market the M5 family as a complete package. It creates a massive wave of hype that a scattered release schedule just cannot match. But there is a technical reason for this delay too, and it has to do with the physics of the chip itself. The M5 is not just a small tweak to the M4. It is built on an advanced next-generation 3nm process. Making chips this small and this dense is incredibly difficult. When you try to manufacture them, you run into something called yield rates. This is the percentage of chips that actually work perfectly when they come off the assembly line. Moving to this advanced node poses manufacturing challenges. If Apple rushes it, they might not have enough chips to go around. By waiting until 2026, they are buying time. They are ensuring that the factories can produce millions of these chips without defects. They are choosing stability over speed. There is also the modular problem. We need to talk about the high-end chips, the M5 Pro, the M5 Max, and the M5 Ultra. The base M5 chip is relatively simple, but the Ultra chips? Those are monsters. They involve stitching multiple chips together to act as one superbrain. This architecture is complex. It requires rigorous testing to make sure the data flows between the different parts of the chip without crashing or overheating. Apple learned a hard lesson with the M3 lineup, where the Ultra chips felt a bit delayed and disjointed. They don't want to repeat that. They want the M5 Ultra inside the Mac Studio to be ready on day one alongside the base model. This requires extensive research and development time, pushing the whole timeline back to 2026. So, what are we actually waiting for? Is the M5 chip even worth this delay? The short answer is yes. The leaks regarding the M5 M5 specifications are genuinely exciting. This isn't just about opening your email faster. This is about graphical dominance. The M5 GPU is rumored to offer up to a 45% increase in graphics performance compared to the previous generation. That is a massive leap. In the world of computers, a 10% jump is normal. A 45% jump is a generational shift. This makes the M5 Mac Mini a serious machine for video editing, 3D rendering, and even high-end gaming. Apple is finally taking gaming seriously, and this chip proves it. On the CPU side, we are looking at a multi-core performance boost of around 15%. That might sound smaller than the GPU number, but it is significant for professional workflows. If you're a music producer using Logic Pro with hundreds of tracks, or a developer compiling code in Xcode, that 15% means you go home earlier. The chip is faster, but it is also smarter. The M5 features a redesigned neural engine. We are moving into the age of AI, and Apple knows it. The M5 is built to handle on-device machine learning. This means features like predictive text, image generation, and automated editing tools in Final Cut Pro will happen instantly on your device, without needing to send data to the cloud. It is about privacy and speed. Another major improvement is the memory architecture. The M5 will feature an improved unified memory system with reduced latency. In simple terms, this means the brain of the computer can access information faster. It allows for smoother multitasking. You can have 50 tabs open in Chrome, Photoshop running in the background, and a 4K video rendering, and the computer won't stutter. It handles the traffic jam of data much more efficiently than the M4 or M3 ever could. This brings us to the ecosystem. The 2026 launch isn't just about the box on your desk. It is about the screens you look at. Rumors are swirling that Apple is planning to release a second-generation Studio display alongside these new desktops. The current Studio display is fine, but it is getting old. The new one is expected to feature higher refresh rates, potentially 120Hz promotion, and better color accuracy. Imagine pairing an M5 Mac Mini with a 120Hz Apple display. That is a buttery smooth experience that Apple users have been begging for. The unified launch strategy makes this possible. You buy the new computer and the new monitor together, and they work perfectly in sync. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room, the M4 Mac Mini. If you're sitting there with an old Intel Mac or an M1 that is starting to slow down, this news of a delay puts you in a tough spot. Should you wait for 2026, or should you just buy the M4 Mac Mini now? This is the dilemma. The M4 Mac Mini is still a fantastic machine. It is powerful, it is compact, and because the M5 is delayed, the M4 is likely to see some aggressive discounts. If you're a student, a writer, or someone who just needs a reliable computer for office work, the M4 is a bargain. You don't need to wait 2 years for power you might not use. However, if you're a professional, the calculation changes. If you're a video editor, a 3D artist, or a game developer, the M5 is the target. The jump in GPU performance alone is worth the wait. The longevity is also a factor. Buying an M5 in 2026 means you are getting a machine that will likely receive software updates and support well into the 2030s. It is a long-term investment. You are future-proofing your setup. The M5 architecture will be designed to run the next 5 versions of macOS with ease, specifically optimized for the heavy AI features that Apple hasn't even announced yet. Let's paint a picture of what the 2026 lineup will actually look like. You will have the entry-level Mac Mini with the base M5. This will be the everyman computer, small, silent, and deceptively powerful. Then, you will have the Mac Studio. This will house the M5 Max and M5 Ultra. This will be the workstation for Hollywood editors and top-tier designers. And then, possibly, the return of a high-performance iMac, sleek and all-in-one, finally getting the power it deserves. By launching them all at once, Apple sends a message: we are the kings of the desktop. They dominate every price point simultaneously. It is also worth noting the software side of this delay. By pushing the hardware to 2026, Apple gives its software engineers time to catch up. Often, New hardware launches with software that feels a bit buggy or unoptimized. This extra year allows the macOS team to perfectly tune the operating system for the M5 architecture. They can ensure that the thermal management is perfect, so the fan never spins up unless it absolutely has to. They can ensure that the battery efficiency is maximized. A delayed product is eventually good, but a rush product is bad forever. Apple seems to be taking that quote to heart. So what does this leave us? It leaves us in a gap year. 2025 will be a year of software updates and minor tweaks, but the hardware revolution is on pause. This might feel disappointing, but you have to look at the bigger picture. Apple is trying to correct the course. They're trying to stop the confusion of staggered releases. They're trying to solve the physics of 3-nanometer production. They're trying to give us a product that isn't just a small step forward, but a giant leap. The M5 Mac Mini will be the result of patience. It will be the result of a company deciding that good enough isn't acceptable anymore. They want exceptional. When that machine finally lands on desks in 2026, it's going to be a beast. It will be the accumulation of years of learning, refining, and testing. My best opinion on this strategy. Honestly, I think this is the smartest move Apple has made in years. The yearly upgrade cycle is exhausting. It is exhausting for consumers, and it is exhausting for developers. Nobody needs a new Mac Mini every 12 months. The performance gains recently have been marginal. By skipping a year and grouping everything into 2026, Apple creates an event. They create excitement. When the M5 drops, it will feel like a massive upgrade because we have had time to miss it. Plus, the synchronization is key. I hated seeing the Mac Studio get an update while the Mac Mini sat there with an old chip. It felt disjointed. Aligning the whole family makes the buying decision so much easier. You can look at the whole menu at once and pick the right meal. It sucks to wait, but the payoff will be a much more polished, powerful, and coherent product line. If you can hold out, the M5 era is going to be legendary. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay ahead of the curve on all things Apple, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Share this video with your friends who are thinking about buying a Mac so they don't make a mistake, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update when the leaks start flowing again. Thanks for watching.